Hello, 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 everybody. All right, so in this short video, so my aim is to, tell you how I came about, teaching Christian women, Christian mom, about money and, what God wants them to do, with it, with their money. So I'm just going to tell you a short story. I'll try to make it brief about how I found myself, now, teaching Christians about money and how God wants them to use it. All right. So yeah, so I've always been, an academic person, like most of you. I've always, like I've followed all the education program, from primary school, secondary school to university. And I even went on to do my master's in analytical chemistry. So I've always been a science student, because I was aiming to work with a pharmaceutical company, or with a hospital. But I ended up getting the second option, which was, working with the hospital. And to the glory of God. And so I was working. I got the job with the NHS, actually. So I was working with the transfusion animal hematology and transfusion team, their quality, uh, the quality team. So I did that job for, like almost 9 years. So I've always been a 9 to 5 person, career person. And so I was doing that, and I was earning my salary, as every career person do. So I was earning my salary as normal, and I didn't. But at the time, one thing I realized looking back now is that I didn't really have financial literacy. At the time, I didn't really have any money education per se. And so that was one thing that was missing, actually, because it wasn't being taught at school. you know unless maybe if you do something along the line of finance or maybe accounting, maybe they will talk to you about money at school. But if you're a science student like me, or an art student, or commercial student even, they won't teach you about money per se, but they will just tell you about the economy and the wider aspects of things. So but I realized I wasn't financial literate. And I'm sure a lot of women, in this day and age, they are not financially literate. A lot of women, especially Christian women, if I can put it that way, and moms, they are not really financially, because nobody is teaching it. So it's not being taught at school. And I find, I've always been in the church. I grew up in the church. I started going to church from when I was 12. I gave my life to Christ when I was 18. So I've always been in the church. I've always been serving in the church. I've always, like, I go to church like 2 to 3 times a week. That's how devoted I was. Even when I was in university, I was still going to church like twice a week, during the week. So I was always in the church. And the um should I say the painful part of it? I don't know. I can't really put it that way. Is that even the church was not teaching about money. They were not saying anything about it. So no, so you end up being a Christian, but you're not financially literate. So it's a serious kind of state to be, not to be financially literate. Is a serious thing. And even to the point that, even no, when I was a teenager, nobody was teaching it in the church. And even till the point where I got married, I had my marriage counseling. There was nothing for finances, for money. So after I got married as well, I still attend church, still a Christian. I started having my children, and no one is still teaching about it. So it's like, what's going on? So, but I didn't even realize that until now. I didn't realize until God started showing me all those things. And even so at one point after I was already married, the church that I was attending, they actually maybe they woke up and they started talking about you know um how we need to invest our money, we need to multiply our money and things like that. So they brought the experts from outside in, to teach the church how to like invest their money and things like that. So people started getting into investment, and they were telling people to invest their money in shares or stock markets, or the forex trading, crypto and things like that. So people started investing their money, and guess what? They started losing their money. People started losing their investments. And I was one of those people that actually lost some of my investments. And then looking back now, God was telling me that, look, something was actually missing back then. Um, go to learn about money or finances is not by going into the first stage is not by going into investment. No, that's not the first stage. So they made people go in at the wrong stage, and people kept on crashing. They kept on losing their investment, they kept on losing their money. And then at one point, I think they brought some business people to talk to us about business, start a business, do this and that. And then people were going into those businesses, and they were finding out that, oh, it's not as easy as they thought. It's too demanding, it's too, there are some things there that they couldn't do, that they don't know how to do. So people were, Christians were losing money, and they were not doing well in business, basically. They were not doing well in business because, they lacked the very vital skill, you know. That's, that skill that I'm talking about is the skill that is the foundational skill of life that every successful human being has and have to have. If you want to be successful in life, you have to have this vital skill that I'm talking about. A lot of Christians lack that skill, and that's because of the lack of that skill. That accounts for the reason why they were losing their investment money, and not winning in business as well. You know, because they lack that foundational skill, and the other soft skills that comes with it. So even I myself, got to a point that I got fed up of working, of doing the 9 to 5, because I was looking to increase my career level so that I can earn more. So I went to look for another job, and I started the job, and it just didn't work out well. I lost the job, you know. So I was like, oh, what do I do now? So I just, it got to a point that I was just fed up with the whole thing. I was like, God, I had to go back to God. And I was saying, God, I've spent 27 years of my life, 30 years of my life studying, being in a career, developing career. Is this how it's meant to go? That you know how it is when you're not working and no money was coming in for you and things like that. So I had to go back to God and say, what's going on? What's happening? That was when God started to open my eyes to say, look, the church had the whole thing backwards, like wrong. So God started to tell me to start learning about money. You want to have something and you don't even know anything about it, you know. Huh. So God told me to start learning about money. So I started getting books. I started, there was a lady, I think Terry, that God asked me to, just follow her and learn, things off her. So I was doing that. And then God started to teach me about this vital skill of life. Is the foundational skill of life. When God taught me that skill, my eyes opened like, what? Hey, I was really excited and angry at the same time. And I decided, I'm going to teach all these skills to all the young adults, all teenagers and young adults. I'm going to teach them this skill because this is what the church should be teaching them. This is what they are supposed to be taught at school at this young age that they have. Teenagers, young adults, that's what they're supposed to be taught. And no one is doing it. I'm like, what? So I wrote that book. It's on Amazon. I call it the Money Principles. Money Principles for Teenagers. It's on Amazon. So, and then now God is calling me. God is calling me and telling me, Buki, start, teaching those foundational skills to women, and especially to moms, women, Christian women in career, and moms, working moms. Start to teach them all these foundational skills that I've taught you. God wants me to start doing that, to start teaching it to Christian moms, Christian women, career women, to start teaching them this foundational stuff. I'll, uh, yeah, and God started saying to me, Buki, you have to start, teaching these foundational skills of life to women, to Christian women, to Christian moms, start teaching it to women to help them to get the correct skills, the foundational skills in life, so that they will so that they can win, in their businesses, they can win in their finances, they can win in every area of life. And that's why I've started to create a Facebook group, so that I can help as many, Christian women, as working moms, working women as possible. So that's why I wanted to share. The first place to actually start is with your money mindset. Your money mindset. And I've done a free online course, to help you to start checking, just to first of all check what's your mindset about money, you know, just to reveal things to yourself, because you yourself need to know yourself, you need to discover yourself and to know what you believe about money in the first place. So that's the first place to start. And then the second place is, to get to know what is money, how does God want you to see money, and how does God want you to treat money. So I've done that online course. It's free, for you to. I'll see if I can put the link below this video, and I hope my uh, quick story has been a blessing to you, and I hope you will join me on all my different programs that God is helping me to put together. And also, I've got another program as well that is very helpful, for women. But you will be finding out about that program very soon. All right, take care and God bless you.